What's up, guys? It's Tank from X1029, Jacksonville's new alternative. We've got Jim Norton coming into the Comedy Zone November 19th through the 21st with several different shows. We actually sat down and had a conversation with him. I'm here with Aaron. You may remember him as the old boss of X1029.
Guys.
We kicked him out to get some young, fresh blood in there. But
I got too old? Is that just that's
yeah,
ageism.
That's exactly what happened.
Going to sue you immediately.
You're actually younger than me, so it's weird that I'm still here. But the day is young. So we talked to this guy, and Jim Norton is, if for people who don't know, a tremendously funny comedian. Very un-PC. He says whatever he wants, which is one of the things I love about him. And Aaron, I've known you for a very long time. I've seen you sit down. You sat down with Jared Leto. Like you didn't even care that it was Jared Leto.
I dared him to gaze into my icy cold eyes.
I've seen you sit down with the Black Keys. I've seen you talk to some of the most
I've had my fair share of stars that people would probably be starstruck by, and I just don't care about.
Never phased you. Never asked you to take a picture. It doesn't matter as much. And I'll tell you what. And this happened with me last year with Weezer at Big Ticket. It finally really hit me to be starstruck, is because there's a weird, different level going on where I don't want to feel like these people are more important to me than I am to them, and quite frankly, we're not important to them at all. Right. So it feels kind of gross when you idolize somebody who doesn't care at all about you. No, I get it. And but. This guy's the only guy besides Weezer, and I'm not going to count Weezer because it's Weezer.
You trying to say Jim doesn't matter?
No, I'm not trying to say that. But Jim Norton to the average housewife,
right?
They don't know who he is. You know
Correct.
what I'm saying? But he's a very, very funny comedian, and he's going to be at the Comedy Zone the 19th to the 21st, and you should definitely go check that out because he's going to be very funny. We saw him last time, and he was very funny.
I laughed, cried 4 times that hour.
Yeah, it was a very, and like I said, it's just a good time, and it's going to be raw, and it's going to be hilarious. In fact, there was a time, you took me to New York one time. You're from New York, and you took me there one time, and we had a great time.
We did.
And you said, hey, let's go to this record store down in the Village.
I was very nonchalant.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, a record store in the Village? Yeah, that sounds like a New York experience that I would want. So after the record store kicked us out, because I was buying too many Willie Nelson albums. We're standing on the corner. You're smoking cigarettes like you're some sort of street gang member.
Chain smoking, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start freaking out. Like, let's go. For the real reason we were down in the Village, we were stalking Jim Norton outside of the Comedy Cellar.
Well, the guy, he performs there nightly just to, brush up on his material, hang out with his friends. He talks about it on the radio all the time. So I knew that. And I knew if we were standing there around the time the show got out, chances are we'd see the dude. And sure enough, he came out a couple of minutes later.
Hey, man, I ain't mad at you. That's the stalker's handbook. Now we know how you got your wife. Look, she gets off work at 5 o'clock. If I
just hide in the back seat.
If I just stick my wiener on the door handle, she's got to touch it, right?
She did, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Now she got a baby in her.
Now she got a baby.
That's how that works. But we actually sat down and talked with Jim Norton, and this is a very funny interview. Take a few minutes to listen to it.
You're giving a lot of praise to it. I don't know.
I thought it was pretty funny.
It's a lot of pressure, though.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
If it was me, I'd call it almost funny, and then people go, "Oh, it's better than almost funny," and then it's like a compliment.
The pressure is on Jim Norton to be funny, not us.
All right. And in that case, it's very funny.
He's the comedian. I'm just a fat guy with a high cholesterol. So let's check it out. Comedy Zone at November 19th through the 21st. To comedyzone.com for all the details. And once again, it was Aaron that was sitting in with us. He's so nervous. It's adorable.
It's hyperventilating.
Yeah. So here it is. Check it out.
It feels like you're doing a new hour every year. Is that the pace you're on at this point?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and the specials they're not on Netflix anymore. They're on Hulu. And the reason was there was a big deal with Epix, and then Epix changed to Hulu and not Netflix. So it's really frustrating. But yeah, I try to do an hour a year. The hour I'm doing now is definitely different than the one I did there last time. I'm not sure what set I was doing then, but I try to, every 15 months or so or a year I change it up.
Jim, last time you were here, I don't know if you remember this. It's got to be hard to keep all the different cities straight, but there was an annoying drunk lady in the front row, and they had to kick her out.
As opposed to a not annoying drunk lady.
Right, yeah, exactly. As opposed to a very intelligent and cognizant drunk lady, and they had to kick her out. Do you remember that, or is it just kind of all blend together at this point?
In all honesty, I do not remember it, but yeah, I was in Charlotte last week, and there was a bachelorette party that I wanted to burn alive.
That would have made the wedding pictures pretty bad.
I'm sure the husband would have appreciated it.
Does that hurt the show? Does that break up your timing, or does it kind of help the show because you can pick on them?
Oh, yeah, I hate it. I mean, I really hate it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because once in a while you can joke with them a little bit, but usually they're obnoxious and they get resentful if you're too nasty to them. So I find them to be really, really not fun to talk to.
Do you hate it more, though, because you're sober, or they're just that annoying?
I think both. I would never have enjoyed it, but I mean, I think the fact that I'm sober makes it even more irritating. Like, even if I'm trying to bang a girl, it's like when she's that drunk and obnoxious, it's just like, I don't need it. You know what I mean? I just don't need it. So, absolutely, yeah, you wait for her to pass out, you Cosby the situation, and then you deny it for 40 years. I'll tell you one thing about Cosby. He really doesn't he make you feel better about your own nonsense? Like, dude, I'm a creep, but like I'm not that bad.
It's funny. Tank was talking to me recently. He read somewhere some stupid online rumor about how Anonymous or some hacker collective at some point here in the near future is threatening to release everybody's porn search history, which technically isn't even a thing. It's not like there's a special cache on a computer that only keeps porn searches. But could you imagine what a great equalizer it would be amongst people if everybody knew everybody's porn search history?
Wow. How do they even know how do they do that? I mean,
they can't. It's impossible. It's
make-believe. Here's the thing, Jimmy. It was a Vice article I read, and it's the way they do it is I don't know what you use, but I like X videos. X videos is a good one. And when you search X videos, or when you watch an X video, the entire title of the video is in the URL.
Oh.
So they link that back to your IP address. So it shows the URL of, it's like clowns urinating. It's like www.xvideo clown urinates on balloon while my mother watches and son, does his thing. So that's where because there's other ones they said that some of the other big porn sites that don't have that, and you're okay.
We would never be able to elect another president ever again. It would be impossible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing about being a piggish comedian is nobody cares what I look at in porn. the people who have to worry are people who have been trying to come off a certain way and quote-unquote legit all this time. Those are the people who have put up a false front. I mean, look, I wouldn't want my porn history. It's just a little embarrassing. But there's nothing to it that's devastating or criminal. There's plenty of people out there that would have like real criminal problems if their porn history got released.
Well, like the CEO of Milton Bradley, he's got all kinds of weird ladyboy, teenager looks like 8-year-old search histories.
That's not weird.
Oh, all right.
He's just been watching Hanson videos.
That's the weird stuff.
Yeah, that's Bob.
Bob. It's just something kind of crazy.
Jim, you made your name and your career on stand-up. It feels like recently you've been doing a lot of these different projects, though, whether it was the talk show on Vice or the Advice show on satellite radio, or I know you're working on animation for one of your characters. I don't know how far along you are with that, but is that a conscious move by you to at least take some of that focus away from stand-up, or is it just you trying to try different things at the same time?
You just get bored with any one routine. So it's just me. I just like doing different stuff. And the animation, I have 2 episodes almost finished. I'm actually, as we're talking, the episode 2 is being downloaded. Like, they're just checking for a couple of audio things they had to fix. But yeah, man, I like doing different stuff. You get crazy bored just doing only stand-up or only radio or only writing. So I kind of like to mix it up, just because it feels better to be mediocre at a bunch of things than to suck at just one. So I kind of like to mix it up and just kind of do it.
Do you think that we're right now in kind of the renaissance, the golden age of comedy? I know that the 80s and everything was like the huge names, but now it seems like everybody has a voice with all the different platforms that you can. I mean, everybody's got a special on Netflix, and you're getting so much more access to people that maybe like, HBO didn't think was, special worthy, but you can find a guy on Netflix that maybe you'd never heard of.
Or is it going the other way? Does it make it worse, like some of these YouTube stars who present themselves as having talent, or some of these Vine video kids, and really there's no talent there at all? It's just mind-numbing.
Yeah, some of them are awful, but some of them, I'll tell you why, there's always been awful comedians, so there might as well be awful YouTube people. So I actually like the YouTube stuff because I think it takes the power away from a lot of those places. Like, HBO just simply isn't doing as many specials they used to do. Like, they did Amy last year. I think they did Tracy a couple of years ago, Chris Rock, but they don't do many. So why should only 3 people get HBO specials a year when there's 30 good comics that deserve it, or 40, whatever the number? So I think it's great, dude. It just puts more content out there. There's more content now than there ever was. So I think it's a good time for comedy for that reason.
And you've certainly taken advantage of some of these new outlets, whether it be Hulu or Epix or Netflix. So is this what you're doing with this cartoon you're producing?
Yeah, I'm just doing it myself, man. And it's like I'm going to put it up online. Hopefully, we're going to do an Indiegogo thing that gets some funding. So it'll probably start December 1st, I think. I'm actually trying to get that stuff in order behind the scenes now. So hopefully I'll have more answers next week.
And then for those who aren't familiar with your work on Opie and Jimmy and Opie and Anthony, a lot of these characters pretty much, make their appearance there. And then it just seems like they work themselves into the fabric of your brain and then become part of you. I feel like you're really close to being a multiple personality at this point.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm a multiple personality, and none of them are interesting. That's the worst part about being Jim Norton. Yeah, I walk around the house like as Chip sometimes, or as Edgar. I do it all the time when I'm alone, and no one can hear it, and I'm just talking conversationally. So it's really bizarre. So the fact that I might be able to make them into animation form really helps.
Yeah, and then is it just Chip in this animation, or are you going to use Uncle Paul or any of these other characters like Ted Sheckler or any of these guys?
Well, there are definitely a few friends that make appearances. It focuses on Chip, but what would be Chip without Uncle Paul or without Edgar? You got to have that.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely more than one character.
Well, Jim, I really appreciate you taking the time, man. I can't wait to see you. We're going to be at the Friday night show at the 10 p.m., just rooting you on and being loud and stupid and hopefully not throwing you off your timing or anything.
Well, come up and say hello, man. It'd be nice to talk to you guys.
Will do. Jim, thank you so much, man. Dream come true for me today. Thank you.
Thanks, man. This was really fun. Thanks, guys.